Should we scream before?
I want to see if the White River Junction swim place, aquatic center, has like a really nice hot tub. How is it there? What is going on? I want to be as honest and transparent as possible.
I see right through you.
Sean Murnane was like, we need to make sure the show's always funny. And I go, I don't want to make sure anything's always anything. I want to be honest and authentic, and I want to be enough. I don't want to have to be anything other than what I am. And I want that to be enough. I want to win now. I don't want to set. I think everyone is setting their victory, their life, winning, getting it right into the future. Eternity is now. Eternity is in the now. Everything is now. So if there's any thought of something in the future, or you needing something to happen so you can get what you want, it's it's Wednesday, the 7th of March, 2:30 p.m.
Yeah, we're looking for a nor'easter night coming in.
There's a storm coming tonight. Everyone make sure...
batten down the hatches.
Yep, you get some supplies, you're warm, and...
Don't plan on going anywhere tomorrow.
Wait, it usually takes Chico a couple days to upload these shows, which, by the way, I am super blown away of how fast
I hope it wasn't too
he
bad.
uploads these shows. He uploads these shows faster than anyone, in my experience, has ever uploaded a show of this sort.
I wonder if we skipped a day, if that would slow him down.
I haven't uploaded things that I shot 10 years ago, Dave. Chico is 10 years faster than me. We're here, there's a camera, this is going to go on, people are going to be able to see this. What could this possibly be?
Okay.
Would like to entertain, would like to inspire.
Yes.
Would like to support and
Trying
help.
to support good things.
Oh, so my big thing is I got to start right off. Everything is now. The eternity is now. God isn't something that happened 20 billion years ago with a Big Bang.
It's happening all around us.
People are removing God from. They're like, God is this thing. It's like everything is sacred. And so this is why I'm. Most of reality is based on particle physics, Einsteinian. There's a hard particle that makes up the universe. We are control. Everything has mass. There's a speed of light. These things are actual, matter. Everything has matter, right?
Yes.
And now there's a new theory of physics, wave theory, saying you can have energy without matter. You can have energy without. You can have. Everything is energy, and it's entangled. Everything is entangled energy. You, me, the camera, the TV, you watching at home. Everything in the universe is entangled energy.
Yep.
And you can have energy without matter. And there these new experiments are showing. I don't know. Everything's connected, and science is proving it. But it's proving what you've always known.
What everybody knows. You're in a wave when you come out of your mom. You're in a wave of love that's gone through centuries of undulations, right? All of human history. Waves of people. People live in generation after generation after generation. But nothing's really changed under the sun. We think we get smarter and everything, but well, you know what I think about it.
Wait, what do you mean? You don't think that humanity has gotten more loving since the beginning of?
I think we've certainly organized precepts to base love for each other on. They've been given to us by God, and we're supposed to take care of each other, love each other, serve God,
I don't think we're doing it.
Love the earth.
I mean, I think there's currently
Different people are doing it at different amounts. Nobody's called to be perfect. We're all imperfect.
But there's war and violence going on around the whole world, and you wish that that love was. There's so much fighting.
We all have to stop. Yeah, we have to work against violence and injustice and hate and all of these things. And that's what we are all called to do in our own relationships with the people around us, and for the greater good, but it's supposed to come from people. It can't come from the government. Can't be the source of why we do things for good. It has to be that the people are virtuous and want to
Yeah,
put forward representatives of virtue.
It seems that like now in the culture of the U.S., if you want to make change, you're sort of pushed like, well, you do it through the government. But the way you make change is you be a good
People, yeah.
person, and then you just keep helping those around you.
Yeah.
I mean, these are how like a great company that's really trying to help people.
And leaders are called to be leaders to do, that's what our leaders need to do, is lead us in paths of love, and there's many people are leading in paths of love. And doing the right thing in government can be a path of love. You can do a love. You can be a. It's like you were criticizing the military last week, but you don't realize how many men. For many men, that is their religion. It's they went in, they gave everything they had, and they either came home or they didn't, and it's a life-changing experience for them. So, and to, when you talk about the wrongs committed by the military-industrial complex and the wrongs committed by the military, that's a really wide brush to say, to put that on the military generally. So.
Well, I mean,
There's good people all over. There's a ton of really good people in the military.
I know that. I've never.
And they
argued that.
consider it a peace force. That's the highest calling of the military, is to make sure it's a peace force.
Yeah, but it's
to
not a peace force. Not in my estimation.
Okay.
It's not.
Well, they have missions of peace all over the world.
You seem to have a
what they're-
bias because you're in the military-industrial complex. You have of course, it's made up of individual people
Right,
with
that's what I'm saying.
families
You
and
can't condemn
wives
the
and
individual
children
people.
and husbands. They're all, God bless them all.
Yeah, that's right.
But they're being paid money to,
I
and
don't get
they're being
sidetracked.
given weapons, and there's all this violence going on
Right.
that should not be going on. And it's going on.
Hey, did you know
it shouldn't be going on.
Okay. Easter Sunday is April 1st this year?
You told me that.
Oh, that's right.
Do you know that the biggest moneymaker is war? It's not like war's see, here's the thing.
I don't get sidetracked into
But here's
all
the
our
thing.
wars talk.
It's not like it'd be one thing if the military was everyone saw there are peace force. It was peace missions everywhere, and it was
We
just.
were talking about the way.
And then there was like I know, and then there was like a little bit of like
There's waves of
violence.
military violence,
But
too.
in the military now, the weapons and the war seem to be the major thing. I just think we need to take a break from it. I think it's gone on
I
for
have
so
taken
long.
a break from it.
It's gone on for so long. People were like, it's gone on for so long that we accept it. People look back and they go, oh, you were in Vietnam, and it's like, but that was we should never have been there. It was terrible to do that to those children, young men. My dad signed up to go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Went to get his health,
Right.
and they were like, "Oh, you have albumin in your urine. You can't go. You fail. Come back in a year."
Yeah.
In a year, he gets another letter. Oh, time for you to come back. And in 1 year, between like 18 and 19, he went from I want to go
Yeah.
serve to no, that sounds
I
like a
don't want to
crazy
do that.
idea.
Yeah.
That's a big change in a year to want to go to, and then he never went back.
He never went back. They didn't.
He
call
never
him.
went back. He never got called back. It was just like he was on file as failing his
Yeah.
medical test.
I don't know what I would have done, because I was against the Vietnam War, but I went in the Army just after the Vietnam War.
Can you believe they were drafting? People don't realize that
Yeah.
now. Like, do you imagine if that was now? They're just drafting. Like, if suddenly I was like, Dave, they're telling me I got to go to Iraq.
Yeah, the guys, high school and above me were getting drafted.
I don't think men should be able to draft men. I think men kind of like try to act like God often. I don't think any man should have the
Well, that's
authority
where
to
the-
say you need to get a
Hopefully.
gun and come kill people for this
God,
country.
God doesn't get rifles and kill people. I'm sorry. That's not acting like God. You mean by taking
no,
life?
No, I'm saying the draft, Vietnam,
Yeah.
like the fact that our government was taking people who didn't want to go.
Right.
That seems like an abuse. That's a civil rights violation.
Well, yeah. You can be a conscientious objector, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I know. Like, I always thought that it was like really hard to do that. And they like
it
take
is.
you to court, and they like, no, you're not being honest.
You don't really.
I
have
know.
a
But I think
conscience.
Patch Adams was a conscientious objector, and I think that he went through it and was awarded because he just had years of like documenting what he was doing.
Have you had any further contact with him?
Yeah, yeah.
What's going on with that?
He's in Guatemala right now. He's in Guatemala with about 20 people, and Patch Adams. And I was going to go there first week of Guatemala. And there's probably 20 of them, and they spend like 2 hours in an orphanage.
It's like Doctors Without Borders, kind of.
Yeah, they go to orphanages, nursing homes, and like schools, and
Yeah.
they try to work with these like poor children. They just like, it's all about fun, happiness, and they go there, and it's great for the children. It's great for the clowns. Everyone lives in a little family-owned hotel. You have dinner, breakfast, and lunch there. You spend a week with all these people, so it's a real interesting experience of these other adult humans from somewhere around the world. And I was going to go, and then it cost $1,500 to go. And I was going to go, and my mom was like, so, like, that would be so good for you to do that. I'll help you pay for it. But I just thought, and then I had someone on Facebook say, why don't you just why are you flying to Guatemala? Just stay in your town and help people here.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. Yeah.
And then I thought, so I didn't go. But then I also didn't play with kids with 20 clowns
and
for
maybe
a week,
they
you know?
maybe they have. Maybe you could hook up with them to do it again at some other time.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff,
do 6 to 8 clown trips every year.
Yeah, it's neat.
But what do you think about someone who says Patch Adams is flying around the world doing clown missions, and he should just stay in Virginia and build this thing and work locally? He shouldn't do that. He's just wasting.
Maybe he's able to leverage the work he does through advertising and such. Advertising what's going on and raising funds to help a lot of people rather than just help.
Because I don't necessarily think that, like,
It's not a zero-sum game.
I don't think
helping
that
people.
I don't think that,
there's no end of helping.
there's some people who say, I don't think let's not judge one another
Yeah.
based on how we help one another. Because some people are like, I want to go to Africa, and for a while I was like, geez, like I need help. And I got 20 friends in Rwanda trying to build a clinic. It's like I'm homeless.
Everything's relative. Yeah.
But now I'm like, you know what? Wherever you feel inspired, wherever you feel moved. You feel moved to fly around the world.
Yeah.
And you can't put a price on an experience. Maybe it is worth going to some place. Maybe that experience enriches your soul so much.
Yeah. Benefits just down the road. Yeah, people love to travel. I'm not a big traveler. When I was a kid, I loved to travel.
Yeah, you're because when I first talked to you about someone that we both know about traveling, you were like, oh, why not just get it? You made a good point. I made a point of like, it's good for young people to travel.
Right.
I still think that rather than go to college,
Yeah.
you should spend, just like travel, go see poverty, go see different parts of the world and get just save up money and go travel for a couple months to see what's going on with your own eyes. Let's see the planet.
Go to night school and experience poverty while you're there.
Yeah, and you're like, you don't need to fly anywhere. Just, you can do something, which I think is true. You don't need to see the world. We don't live in a material world. It's not, it's
Well,
a wave.
now it's even less. I mean, you get around just with the amazing television and everything that you can see things. What you can see just sitting at a computer is almost beyond belief.
That is true.
I mean, I really miss being able to go on and do research because I have a hard time with that. But
Oh, yeah, because you don't have a computer, you don't have internet.
I don't have internet.
You're living without water, not a lot of firewood, in a cabin along a brook, and you're about to get evicted, and your
And my
house
fence and the road to my house has been fenced
and the,
for
and the house may be
490
foreclosed on,
90
and there's a
days.
fence blocking your driveway. The town of
Yeah.
Hanover erected a large fence that goes
kinda
straight
funny.
across
It's
your
kinda funny.
driveway. They just did this because they weren't aware. They clearly weren't aware. Like, yeah, this is his driveway. Put it right across his driveway. It wasn't like they were like,
No,
they
think the law allows them to block one of my main
everyone
driveway.
was doing what they were being told. No one has really listened to you and understood.
They
it.
have court papers. They say They say they have a court. They had a court order to put the fence in, but that's a lie. They had no court order. They lied to the public. So they did it under color of law. They had this fence erected, and there was no supervision from the court. And they physically blocked my driveway. And it was on November 9th, the morning that Donald Trump was announced to be president. I go out to walk my dogs, and there's sheriffs waiting in the forest. As I walk by, they grabbed me and put me in chains and dragged me up to a vehicle.
You never want to go home and see sheriffs waiting in the forest by your house.
Man, they didn't even come in my driveway. They came in, like sneaky up the side of my property. It's like unbelievable. For nothing. And then they put me in jail. I had a broken neck at the time. They grabbed me. Anyway, that's on. You can go on YouTube and see that somewhere that was posted.
How many people watching this right now are now racing looking for?
Nobody, but they're.
We need super fans that become super obsessed with your life.
No, I've got it all. I've got it all clocked. It's just interesting. That it was the state's the sheriff department photographer caught it on video, so I had at trial I got it released so that I could see it, and I posted it on YouTube. And you can see that in the affidavits they said, "Oh, well, I came after them with some dogs," but in the video you see it's just a lie. I'm walking past them and they come over and grab me and put me in some kind of a death grip on the one arm, and then they grab me and put me on the ground.
Death grip. You should you need a podcast where you're talking for at least 3 hours about your entire life and what's happening. Because I went to a court case with Dave last week where the opposing attorney was trying to get him put in jail for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't go to jail.
Yeah, and he didn't go to jail. Woo-hoo! Thankfully, the judge was like had some sanity.
Well, I embarrassed him pretty severely.
Dave was trying to speak while his court-appointed nonprofit attorney was like desperately trying to
get me to sit down.
It was the most hilarious thing ever. I filmed it. I have the footage on a camera.
Oh yeah, we got to do something with that.
We'll drop it off here.
Yeah.
Put the camera for a week. Adam wasn't too. Adam who works here. He said you can have it for a week, but ideally I would like you to bring it back
the next day.
No, not the next day. Just before then.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I don't really drive or ever leave the house. As you can testify to me not leaving the house.
Yeah, you don't leave. I wish you would.
So it kind of would be cool if Wednesday can be my big day to interact with Cat TV, taking out cameras. But I also want to talk to the director of Cat TV about having a camera always at my house that people
to catch the Hanover end.
Having Hanover be another rental location. I have one camera, one thing, and if people are in the Hanover location, there's breaking news, just like get in touch with me. Say you're in Hanover. You don't want to drive 20 minutes.
You could be a correspondent.
Yeah. I want to be a volunteer for Cat TV.
Call Ryan.
I want to be an unpaid.
I got to
volunteer.
get you on my speed dial.
I would love to get paid, but I don't. But as soon as you say you got to get paid, then people want you to do things. Oh, you're paid. Well, can you edit this Hartford Select Board meeting? No. I'm unpaid. Unpaid means I do exactly what I want.
Oh, they're gonna love you.
Or I'm leaving.
Jesus.
Which means I want to. What I want to do. Here's what I want to do for Cat TV. I want to interview people from around the community and put it on.
There's some cool people
telling their story. No, I don't want it to be of me because I'm meeting people and I'm going, oh, I'd love to. I met this 87-year-old woman. I go, oh, you're interesting. And she's like, yeah. She's like, I got a lot of stories.
Can you imagine the stories from the people at Kendall? Man, there's so many lifetime achievers.
And I think the best thing you could do for these old people homes, these families, is get an hour to a couple hours of their mother or their father telling their whole thing.
Yeah.
So what a gift to always have.
Should have
And then catalog them. Cat TV will just have a catalog of all these. And it'll be mostly old people. I want to get people that are like, before you die, I want to get your story down. Because a lot of people don't have their story.
No.
And that's your thing, is your story. So it's like, that's what's so fun and what can help people and teach people.
And it's so much easier than it used to be. It's not like a big deal, like taking a picture. Now it's.
So yeah, that's what I guess that's what I could do. I want to volunteer to shoot these videos.
Should have just a setup at Kendall or at.
Yeah, or Hanover Terrace on 10
Just
Buck Road.
show up there and ask them if they must have like a common room that you could set up in and just Yeah.
and say, it's for the community. I want to share your story. Share your story. Ash, know the
There's a
story. I want to know
senior
the
center
story
in
of your life.
Yeah.
It's about
cool.
you. And it's not rushed. And there isn't too much, there ain't a lot of questions for me. Like, it's really like, I'm going to be there to help facilitate
They're
because I
not
think
gonna.
I can.
They're not going to have to sign some anti-war propaganda. Or something.
No, just tell me your story.
Okay.
Tell me your story. And then vote for me. I'm running for governor this fall. I need 3,000 signatures.
So now is this a serious?
Before
part?
June, I'm running for governor of New Hampshire in all seriousness, and I am
Okay.
actually running. I am filling out the paperwork to run in the general election for the presidency 2020. And the governor.
And you've already.
The governor is a 2-year term. I need 3,000.
It's only a 2-year term.
Yeah. That's why makes perks perfect, right? I'll be governor of New Hampshire for 2 years. My term will end, and I'll be able to become president.
How did I
for
not know
4.
that? Wow, I didn't know that.
So it really works well. It's like let me train for New Hampshire, because if 2 years, if I kick ass in New Hampshire, if in 2 years we can end the opiate epidemic, we can end opiate, we can end homelessness, just end hopelessness, and like raise the morale of a state where people are like, this is amazing. We then can say this just worked in New Hampshire, and it legitimizes our actually ability to govern
But
and not just
you haven't been talking about your plans. Who are you talking your plans with?
what plans.
Your plans for stopping the opioid crisis.
Oh. I mean, I'm always thinking about them and researching them, and I'm reading I'm talking
Yeah.
what other people think, and I'm always saying, what is because you
The
can
the best answer.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's cool about my belief system is that the best answer always funnels all the way back to one word: love
Right.
is the thing. But then people are, if you want to know, well, in detail, if you look at Portugal,
Yeah.
they had a big drug problem, a heroin problem. That used to be a big problem that now is still a problem, but very, very small. I think it's like a 75% decrease.
Wow.
And if you're tracking the heroin epidemic and the opiate epidemic, it's sort of plateaued. There aren't like more people dying than were dying last year. It's sort of plateaued. 80% of the people who are addicted to heroin
Started.
through painkiller medicine by actually
Yeah.
being prescribed by a doctor. So check this out. This
Not necessarily to them. Right? There's a lot of sales of opioids from people who were prescribed to, and theft as well.
The way I read it was 80% were, these are things that they were actually prescribed, not that they were just from prescribed painkillers that they're stealing.
This is for people who overdosed.
No, this is for people who are using drugs.
80% of the users.
You get some injury. You're prescribed a painkiller really quickly, like OxyContin.
Yeah, I would question those.
It builds an addiction.
Yeah.
And you can't get any more of these drugs.
Right.
Because your prescription ends.
Right.
Your ankle.
I understand.
And then you start using heroin.
And then you go to heroin.
You go to a street drug that you can buy, or maybe I guess some people keep buying painkillers. People buy painkillers on the black market, of course, like anything else. Prescription medicine.
The problem is they get started on them, and then
I'm saying it seems to be whether they're stealing it or they're getting it from a doctor. It's drugs made by scientists in like pills and stuff that seem to be the problem here.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely the biggest part of the problem. They go to the manufacturer and they find out that they've sold billions of these things that had no, they've warehoused them or they've sold them to Mexico and they came back in. Or
So again, my solution to the opiate problem is everyone's thinks it's a drug problem. No, it's a societal love problem. There's people making money off drugs. Number one.
Yeah.
There's
Big companies.
Big companies making a lot of money. That's a problem. And then a lot of your everyday people, Joe Schmo, you see around the community, thinks about drugs. Their best advice is just quit, just stop.
Right.
But that's shown to not work. People can't just do that. This is a serious epidemic.
Right.
Portugal stopped criminalizing people who did drugs, and they said they made everything a health problem, and that's why it's gone better. The cops bring you to therapy. Everything is
Yeah,
you're
I've
not
read
looked at
some
for breaking the
about
law. When if a cop sees a heroin or something, they immediately look at you as you need help. What a difference! But in Portugal than in the U.S. From a police standpoint of when you see someone doing drugs, seeing we need to help them, help their health.
Yeah.
Then when seeing them and saying they need to go to jail, and we need to punish them. Punishment, going back to David Vincelette, this is very interesting. He's in the Grafton County courtroom a week ago, David Vincelette, for some bullshit thing of, oh, they came down to move stuff off his property, and the judge said he can't get in the way, and he simply said, oh, you can't bring cars down here because the cars are against it. The whole thing is me even telling you about is bullshit. What was not bullshit was that the attorney on the opposite side during Dave's sentencing, the judge said, well, you represent the state, you have yours, what would you like to say? She spoke first. She used the word punishment like 7 times. She was like, Mr. Vincelette needs to be punished. He must be punished. He should go to jail because we need to punish him. The state of New Hampshire. And I'm going, whoa, why is the state of New Hampshire paying money to this attorney? And why is she talking about punishment so much? Where's all this punishment coming from? I don't believe in punishment. I don't believe. Why are we still
For telling the truth, I'm going to be punished.
He talks about environmental pollution, and people talk. The whole world is bizarro land. This is a microcosm. What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with the U.S. government? What's wrong with I think what's wrong with the social fabric of even family is
Communication breakdown.
Things break down. We don't like what you did, and it's the whole world can be summed up in the relationships between the people on the planet. And those relationships are unhealthy, and all the way so unhealthy where you have a man that served, has been trying to help people his whole life, has an attorney from a state talking how he needs to be punished and go to jail for 2 weeks. And I'm watching this, filming it, going, this is crazy talk.
Yeah,
this is a 62-year-old man who's disabled.
61.
61.
A kid.
He's got 2 kids. He's married. You want him to go to jail?
I got 2 little dogs at home.
He has dogs that he takes care of.
I got 3 homeless people.
There's 3 people that he's helping shelter. He's helping with food. These people these are poor people who struggle with alcohol, and that we're trying to help. That we know that they've been homeless. I don't know how you want to judge them, but they're 3 men.
I've been fenced in for almost 500 days.
They put a fence across his property. It doesn't bother me as much. The thing.
I was looking it up online.
The fence is thing is. I didn't think the whole. You get caught up in the material hard particle.
Fence. Yeah.
I'm like,
well, it's a wave. It's a wave that never leaves.
We're all love. The moment,
it's like
the moment you play their game. Here's what my friend said.
Okay.
The moment, Dave.
Yeah.
This is what he said to me.
But the thing is,
their
game.
On, let me say one thing.
Okay. The moment they play their game.
The moment. This is for you watching. This is for Chico, who I'm always aware of.
This is the moment.
The moment.
It's once in a lifetime.
The moment you allow yourself to get lost in playing their game. Now, what does their game mean? Their game means the game of the system, how life works, how government's set up, how all these things. That's the game. That's like a structure that is man-made. The moment you get caught up in playing this and not just feeling and being love and spreading, you've lost.
Yeah.
You're in
they
the
rob
system.
you of your joy.
You're in the system, and this is what he told me. He was on the phone. He goes, because he knows I'm running for president. He goes, he says, I will not. He goes, I'm not going to lie to you, but you can actually win. You can actually be president because I know you understand a lot of what I say.
Yeah.
But if you play their game, you won't win. If you try to think, I'm going to be the next president and go viral on social media and make a ton of videos and get really popular, and we're going to run world pieces of thing and we're going to do it. That's not it. Your campaign is a new paradigm of existence where it's love based, it's economy of love. Love becomes so powerful. It's all we're doing. We're no system, nothing comes before the rule of love. Nothing. Nothing.
But how do you write it down? How do you transfer it to people's soul? You think it's just gonna?
I think
effervesce?
through maybe our eyes,
Yeah.
or through hugging, or through looking, or through
Okay.
saying, or through maybe love actions. He talks a lot about. He goes, you know what I'm talking about when you lose a loved one, when you
Yeah.
have a loved one die. He goes, that's what I'm talking about. He's like, he goes, he goes, your campaign must be based on the feeling you have when your loved one dies or is dying, and there's nothing you can do. That's your campaign. If you run it on any
Yeah.
other thing, it's not truthful and it's not honest. Run it on the dying loved one there's nothing you can do to save them, because that love longing is life.
Powerful.
That is power.
Yeah.
And feeling it ripples out. And so like he checks me. He's my mentor, says you're not
Nice.
where you need to be, and I go, you're right. And he's 62 years old.
Oh, that old.
And he goes, I'm 62 years old. You're 33. I bet, listen, I can teach you a couple things. And I go, yeah. And I think you always teach me things. I'm always learning. And here's how you know you're learning. You go, okay.
Yeah, that guy's full of crap. That's not. Then you're.
Okay,
learning.
what do you think? I'm talking too much. What do you think?
I think you've covered.
I think this is the big thing.
Which?
It's a hard thing to talk about because people want to go, well, how do I, you're talking about love wave and
Yeah.
well, how do I write that down or analyze it? And it's like, I think you feel it, you be it.
But how do you make that, like with
with
nuclear fission? It takes a certain amount of time for the chain reaction to go. What's going to cause a chain reaction between
I think
people?
I think the chain reaction has always been going on. I think the love has been building, and then you have these humans, and then we can communicate to each other. And there is so much kindness. There is so much money being raised for charities. There's
Yeah.
so much. You see good things happening, and people
smile and hold your door,
all
but
these
everybody's
things.
living in a cloud of negativity. It seems like. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and
It's just me.
I think one of the things that's going on. Let's talk about a material thing.
I think there's a train going by.
There's a train.
I'm feeling the vibration.
I do. We hear a big train going by.
It's rumbling.
The divine is in every moment. The sacredness is in every moment. That's why you should always slow down and just go, wow. One thing I think it'd be good to mention on our show
Yes.
is that
Since we're here.
these banks are, the only way money is created is by debt. These banks are loaning people loaning money.
Promises to pay. Yeah.
And the whole thing is sort of like a poor system. And the only reason our banking system runs this way is that's the way it was set up. There is no moral love reason of why our money and banking system is set up the way it's set up. But money does seem to rule the thing, because if you don't have, it's the number one fear factor. All the people I talk to in their life right now, they go, I need money, or I don't have food, and I can't pay my rent, and I
Yeah.
can't buy my house, and I don't have a car, and I'll die. And so everyone is in fear mode, and that's why I think I think
People are
that's,
living from paycheck to paycheck.
yeah, we're living. We need to build peace. We need to physically build. The work we
Yeah.
need to do is just like split the wood,
Get our
build
farm.
it, so life becomes easier every day. I'm
Get
trying
my-
to do it with family.
Get my garden back.
Get your garden back. I'm having a big garden. We just met some gardeners. I want to know more farmers. I want to know. I'm thinking, God, and you think about what you could do in 1 year, but think about what you can do in 20 years. If you and I, Dave, and everyone on this show, and Chico, if for starting now, for 20 years,
20 seasons, yeah.
for 20 seasons, we simply said, let's keep building the love, building the connection, growing the food, storing the food, helping one another out, ensuring that we're feeling great.
Be sweet.
It would be like so many friends. I think we'd have like great gatherings of people feeling supported. Hey,
Sure.
who needs help? Who needs massage? Who needs chiropractor? Whose kids are looking for a mentor in any one of these subjects?
Yeah.
This is what I want to live in peace. I want to, and I think you have to
build.
build it one
Excuse
by
me.
one.
Yeah, that's so cool. The dream that's come together.
The dream. Martin Luther King talked about the dream, and even his own daughter says, she goes, her opinion is there's not enough leaders. There's not enough leaders. She goes, we don't have enough leaders. And I question myself, do I need to be a better leader, a more effective leader? Martin Luther King was arrested 37 times. I've been arrested once years ago for trying to read books in a law school at St. John's Library when I was visiting my brother. I used his ID to enter a library to read, and I was arrested for impersonating like a
Martin
student.
Luther King? Oh,
No, my brother. But there's just as many civil rights
because that would
violations.
be a hell of an impersonation. I'm sorry.
He was one of the first stand-up bits I ever did was Martin Luther King.
No kidding.
Yeah. I impersonate getting on a plane. There's a big fat woman in front of me and I go, I looked at those jeans. I looked at those jeans and I said, jeans, you gotta free that ass. Free that ass. Thank God, Bob Martin, you gotta free that ass. I've seen the mountaintop. It ain't half the size of that ass.
You've seen both mountaintops now.
And so, like, he was giving these amazing speeches about civil rights, and I feel like maybe I should be giving speeches about civil rights because there's still civil rights violations going on. Like, my good friend almost went to jail. What?
Did he see?
Happening? If you're watching this thinking life is normal, it's not. It's completely chaotic.
Did you see when they put my rap sheet in front of me?
That was hilarious.
on film.
I had no idea. His rap sheet is way longer than I had thought.
It was like disorderly conduct, disorderly conduct, disorderly conduct, assault, disorderly. And I'm like, what the heck is this? Where did these all come from?
That was out of a movie.
But they're.
She was
They're
like,
all like bullshit charges for trying to stop trucks from dumping asphalt and going up and yelling.
it's trying to stop pollution.
Trying to stop the polluting of my town, and they turn it into I'm a criminal that needs to go spend time in jail.
He's trying to enforce the law and he keeps getting arrested.
I'm doing civil disobedience, and they're going to put me in prison for it. But
I love this
anyway,
show. This is by far our best show.
excuse me.
This is by far.
It's kind
our
of
best show.
funny in a very sad, tragic way, which is what the only humor I seem to respond to anymore.
I keep telling Dave, my whole thing. Know what's funny? You have to see. People have to get to know you better. That's the difference.
To know me is to hate me.
No, because like if you just know Dave, you're like, oh, he's all. I just can't take Dave because it's like always about asphalt waste and pollution. I don't want that chaos in my life.
That's not true. But yeah,
Wait, what's not true?
but it's not always about asphalt waste.
No. What I'm saying is, I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying get to know Dave.
Yeah.
We
Get
don't
them
even
to
have
admit what
shelter
they've
for people.
done.
The big, you know what?
We will.
You know what Bob says?
Tell me.
Bobby Nealon, who's running for governor of
We have some
Massachusetts.
shelter.
I know.
Once we get the house cleaned up
we need
again.
to fix your pump and get a
water,
road fixed.
get the
and do
water
work.
going. Yeah.
But Bobby Nealon, who's running is my vice president,
Cool.
says his number one goal is he goes, I support the civil rights of humans. In that, homelessness is my mission.
Yeah.
To end homelessness. We must ensure that humans have safe and comfortable
place to
shelter.
sleep. Yeah, shelter from the storm.
Shelter from the storm. We have made, now that we've gone away from our Native American roots of living sustainably and gleaning food off our
sharing,
land and using money for everything, money gets our food, water, shelter, transportation. So money provides our basic rights. Now that once we make money equal your basic needs.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get money because you get fired, you get sick, you get disabled, you lose your job because all the jobs go to China, you lose your job because the robot can do your job, you lose your job because it becomes too difficult, you lose your job for any number of reasons, you have no money really means you have no basic needs.
Right.
We have set up a society where people are dependent on money for basic needs. That is never going to be good. Mm-hmm. It's not an efficient system. To say you need this thing that, by the way, our banks just create, our banks that are privately owned. We don't have a government. It's a privately owned bank that loans money to the U.S. government.
Yes. The Federal Reserve being?
The Federal Reserve Bank is not a government owned. It is controlled. Privately owned by like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds.
Oh, we're
these
not
families.
going there. I'm not well educated enough to start going there.
You don't need to be. There's a
Good.
couple families that are really wealthy that own a bank. They set this up, a bank, and that bank loans money to the U.S. government.
Yes. In a way.
Right, you know how
They
the-
issue bonds, yeah.
And the U.S. government is always like, like we have to like pay off our thing, and we have a budget, and we have
Yeah.
a deficit, and all this stuff. But these bankers,
It's just going to be an economic show. Oh, because of the money thing. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
saying we shouldn't. I'm saying, you see how you don't even understand? See how you don't even want to get into this?
Yeah, it's just,
Everyone know.
I
Yeah,
mean,
money
they
is.
can go
but-
online
but-
and look at
but I'm saying-
the Illuminati
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that stuff
Yes.
about the families control. I mean, the fact is we all
The fact is,
control it.
the fact is, you're proving my point right now. The fact
Okay.
is, it would be great if you go, hey, can you explain money? So yeah, this is how money works. It's but it's like, oh, there's these families, there's banks, it's loaning, there's interest. The banks are evil, but how are they? There was a huge crisis where the banks did this. Everyone sort of knows, but no one really knows the real specifics.
No, I understand there's this.
What I'm saying
deep-
is, don't tie money to basic needs. We have a money-based economy.
Right.
So
we can live on love.
we need to have a love-based economy where I think it's better. I think it's better where the new norm in your
Right.
community becomes if there's an ice storm and your neighbor's roof has a leak, rather than your neighbor having to call a phone, having people come and fix the leak and pay them $2,000,
Right.
there becomes the public option of just people in the community that help one another. Neighbors come over. This is what was going on at one point. Many people, it still goes on, barn raisings.
Yeah.
There's still stories of people saying, "Oh, my roof needed fixing." People just came over and 20 neighbors
People
fixed it.
still help each other.
Yeah,
People
people's-
where there is some communication.
And we've still done it. We had things at the office.
do
We had
it.
things at your land. We still do
Yeah.
it, but it's not. But more way we've got away from it. And it's almost like money first. In the household
Yeah.
that I live in,
yeah.
I live in sort of like. It's sort of like the money fixes the problems. You pay the plow guy the money. You pay these things for money.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
if you get some plowing. You have plowing.
Yep.
Must be nice.
Well, it's been nice because there's been no snow for a month, so that's free. Plowing's been free all month.
Nice.
But we have a storm coming. Yeah, what I'm saying is, I just think that here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I have all the answers on money or what to do with the system,
Yeah.
and I don't think the system is change capitalism, destroy it, and instantly set up communism in a day or instantly. I think it changes gradually.
That's relief.
I think it changes as people start using their dollars less and less, and start growing more food, harvesting more food, burning more wood. Maybe they're cutting, buying less, or they're using less stuff. They need less money. They use their bike more. They need to pay for less gas.
Yeah.
As you become more loving and more community, you naturally need less and less money. If you get off all of it, great. If you go from needing $30,000 a year to needing $20,000, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I just think that I think many hands make light work. So I think but me, a lot of people go, oh, I can't live in community because they don't. Here's what community means to me. I think that every human being should have peaceful community, which means you need to have peaceful. When I say peaceful, comfortable shelter, that does not mean the haven. That is not would not include.
Right.
It means you guarantee peaceful individual space for each individual person, because I really see an individual life as sacred. So I start from there. I go, let's take an individual life. Let's say, how would we treat God? If God came into a homeless shelter, he'd get his own room that was nice, that had that he could just go at any time.
The God suite.
The God suite.
Yeah.
Anyone would have just a pillow, a sheet, a blanket. It's warm.
He gets just one sheet.
24 hours a day. So things like the tiny homes, things like sharing your house, all lend towards this of individual units. Maybe you guys split a kitchen or you split a household because I'm living with my mom.
God gets his own kitchen.
God gets his own kitchen.
Yeah, I think so.
I live with my mom. And you know what? It's hard for me to say.
And she doesn't even get her own kitchen.
I moved home after being away for 15 years. I've lived in Boston. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've been to Argentina, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Australia, Vietnam,
Ecuador
Hawaii,
didn't get its own finger.
in Ecuador. And I've been around the U.S. a fair bit, different cities and towns.
Okay.
So that's what I've seen. There's people that have seen way less than me. There's people that have seen way more than me.
Right. What's the weight of
What I
you've
want,
seen?
what I want to say
Okay.
is, and I was gone for 15 years. That's where I was.
Yeah.
Spent most of my time. Bulk was in the Boston area, living with my grandma, and then the California area. Most of my time was in that. The traveling was always kind of short times, months.
Ah,
I now came back for. I tried to do this World Peace Center at 10 Buck Road, and
that was cool. Yeah.
and I had, my mom and I we had a lot of chaos in our relationship. Our relationship was it was unhealthy. She wasn't approving of things I was doing. I wasn't getting along. We just weren't getting along. You don't need to go into details. I wasn't getting
Yeah.
along with my mom
That's tough.
on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And it was creating conflict. I had to actually move out of the house and didn't live there for many months. And then I went to Hawaii and then I was gone for about a year, a little less than a year.
Speaking of time,
And then I
How are we
came
doing?
back,
just checking. You came back.
46 minutes.
That's where the trouble started.
Then I came back
Yeah.
and I moved back in. And I've been home for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
3 months. And I love it. I get along with my mom.
That's so
I
nice.
help my mom.
Yeah,
my
she
mom
appreciates
helps,
it
My
too, I
mom
know
helps
she
me.
does, yeah.
I make my mom's life easier. I make her health better. I make her dinner. I make her food. I bring in wood. I clean the snow.
You're a good son.
I just.
There's some joy
I'm not
in
that I
that.
could be a much better son, but I'm someone that says, I care about you and I'm going to do these things to help your life.
That's the one thing I always tell my mother I left is room for improvement. And she's never argued the point.
Because it just says it makes sense to build a base.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to build a base here. Hopefully I'll be in this community for a long time and then get the chance to, I'd love to see, I've never been to Europe. You've been to Europe. I've never even been there. I'd love to do a trip to Europe
Yeah.
and just go there and spend some time. I
Well-
like living get a van, just go see Germany, go to Amsterdam. I want to, if I'm going to be running for president, which I am running, and if I'm going to be running for governor, I do
Yeah,
think it's
kinda
important
hard
for me to,
squeeze these trips in.
I'm going to need to go, people are going to, what, do you have any foreign experience? I'm going to need to say, yeah,
yeah,
I went on a tour.
I rented a van in Germany and crashed it in Brussels. No.
But I do think it's important. I do think it's important to like, yeah, I've seen, and I do think
Yeah.
it's important that the biggest issue is homelessness. And I do think it's something that I have worked with more closely than Donald Trump. I think even Oprah. I think if you ask Oprah or Donald Trump, or if you ask President Obama,
Yeah.
if you ask them this question, I've worked. I'm not saying this is better or different in any way. I'm just saying this is different. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's better in any way. I'm
Right.
simply pointing out a difference
Right.
when it comes to the homeless issue.
Right.
Is I have spent more time, hours,
Yeah.
actually with homeless people,
That's
physically
true.
homeless people, getting them, just listening to them, talking to them. No, Obama may have way better ideas and know more.
Right.
I'm saying when it comes to like, have you really been on the streets? Yeah, I've been on the streets. I've been to Skid Row in LA, which they say is like the most homeless people as anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've seen
It's gotten
it.
worse since you were there. It's really bad now out there.
It's
Jeez.
pretty bad right
Yeah.
now. I mean, if you want to know what's Skid Row is this place in downtown Los Angeles. And it's just a street. It's about the street that's maybe, I want to say 2 blocks, let's say 2 blocks. Picture a city street that's 2 blocks long, right?
Yeah.
And then picture it's just like packed with kind of people on the sidewalks, almost like you'd think for like a street fair or like there's like a fair is coming through.
Right.
But there is no fair coming through. These are people that are like living in tents, and there's like a social service place right there for like mental teeth. I brought a homeless person I had met to get his teeth cleaned, but when he found out it was a school, he was like, I'm out of here, and he ran out of the thing.
Because they were students.
We were students. He's like, I'm not giving some student.
Yay. Is she happy to have it?
Yeah, I
Dang.
know. I was like, you have. He was like, I don't. But it kind of taught me too, because I was like, hey, my feeling was like, you're homeless and your teeth are all messed up. You should be glad you're getting this. But he was like, I don't want to have some student take work on my teeth. And then later, a year later, we end up to get him access to an actual doctor that worked with like vets, and then he had like a
Nice.
doctor. To now he has like all his teeth were completely
Oh,
redone.
nice.
So in a way, he was right.
That's a really big thing with all the people I'm working with.
Yeah.
Huge is dental.
Can you speak to
12
camera? I want you to speak. I
service.
want you to share your thoughts alone while I take a brief pause.
I think it's probably time.
You think we should
Okay.
wrap up? You don't want any time alone?
I don't know if Chico needs needs?
It's 52. We always have 52 minutes.
Ah,
We always say we do about an hour show.
okay, cool.
We could do a much less hour show.
No,
I
I-
don't think Chico minds.
There was something that happened
We
this
go over,
week.
but I'd like you to. We're on it, and I'm not trying to meet a you know.
There was something.
I want you to share your
What
time.
else happened this week? There's something I've forgotten.
There's always time we go in depth with David Vincelette. I'm talking about this is behind the scenes stuff. It's time we're not interrupted. It's like talk about what's going on in your life and how people can support you and what you need and what you love and share the information. Get it on YouTube. So if in 20 years
I'll do that later.
someone can know. On March 7th, here was the update.
I'm
If
just
for
I think
anything
it-
else, this show is for us, Dave. For us.
That's right.
For you to share everything that's on your mind.
Too much.
The big funny man, Sean Murnane.
Where the hell is
Where
he?
are you? No, I mean,
Sean-
first of all, Sean Murnane lives 2 hours away. There's a snowstorm. He should not be driving here. That would
He's
be
inside
stupid.
He's inside.
I would never allow someone to drive 2 hours to come to a show. He works a full-time
Yeah.
job.
No, you don't want to do that.
Come 2 hours and need to drive back Thursday with a foot of snow coming. So, yeah. So our comedic relief is gone, and my relief is going to the bathroom.
Okay.
Boom! Share your
Boom.
vision.
Okay. So I don't even know what I'm talking about here, which is not unusual. So I was in court, and I stood up there. Ryan filmed it. It was awesome. He got one of the Cat V Studios cameras set up in court. We got a request into the judge from my appointed prosecutor. Well, it was supposed to be a defender. And so Ryan was allowed to set up. And of course, we didn't know how to operate the camera at first, but he figured it out. And as he was saying, the prosecutor got up and ripped me and said that based on my extensive criminal history, which was about 6 or 8 mostly disorderly conducts, I've been arrested for impeding asphalt waste dumping into Mink Brook, trying to shut down the grinding operation that's conducted between Dartmouth and the town of Hanover that they're running. But they have this program where they take all the asphalt from local companies and private contractors and road crews, town of Lebanon, according to their experts, from the hospital, from the medical school, old parking areas that are not supposed to be in the state's recycling program. They're taken up to Dartmouth property and ground up into what they call gravel, but it's not gravel, it's asphalt waste. It's substituted by the town of Hanover for gravel in its road building scheme, but it doesn't comport with state law, which does not allow this material would be considered contaminated. And asphalt in general is considered oil under state law, under the Recovery Act, for permitting for any spills or anything like that. I stood up while the courts have not stood up, sir. And I'm going to continue to stand up. I mean, if you don't want to put me in jail for a little bit to punish me, that's okay. I can take a little bit of jail, and that's not going to bother me. It's not going to deter my practice, which is to, excuse me, I got somebody talking to me, I can't listen. I didn't hear anything. You know why? Because I don't have
You have your headphones. That was
headphones
so hilarious. Oh, that was a great.
You had one?
The
You
audio.
had a good
The
one?
audio is going to be funny on that one.
cool.
Did you finish your update?
Yeah, I was just telling people about the asphalt waste dump because I could, but and why now I'm in court is because the town has been just coming back after me for finding out what they've done. And eventually they're going to get caught, but up until now, nobody has held their feet to the fire. Just like at the Rennie Farm, where the lab animals were dumped, but they never had to show a permit that they were allowed to dump radioactive waste or toxic waste or anything. Somehow it just gets swept into the brook. So nobody goes to jail. That's why I said to the judge, I said, you know, it's interesting because I came to you 10 years ago or whatever it was and explained to you that the asphalt waste was being illegally dumped, and I had a letter from the state saying that the material should not be in the water. It's a violation. The town should change its practices. The town told me they weren't going to change their practices, thumbed their nose at the courts, and then the town took my property, bulldozed my farmhouse, and still has not still has not admitted what they've done, and they've lied and said they never did put asphalt waste up there, but it's everywhere up there. They can't hide it. But they're holding me prisoner. I said, so how is it that the Army Corps of Engineers is able to spill toxic stuff that was used in the refrigeration process to create ice to do exploratory drilling with, practicing their drill bits, right by the junior high school, and you've got
God, you know all
you got
this stuff.
asphalt,
It's amazing.
you got all these different spills going on, and yet somehow the state, with the state and the Fed, everything's being swept into the brook and lied about, and yet I'm the only person who's looking at jail time. Whether they're spending $50 million to cover up their Rennie Farm toxic waste dump. They're thinking about putting me in jail, and I've already served 8 days, and the whole thing revolves around the fact that I got their highway department. Their highway department's going to be indicted as federal racketeers, as far as I'm concerned. They're violating RICO racketeering laws. They're dumping asphalt waste and lying about it in their reports and saying it's gravel. And it's in violation of state and federal law, and there's federal funds involved. It's waste, fraud, and abuse on a massive level. I've asked for federal witness protection with the federal government. I've filed with the FBI. I've filed with the Department of Justice, the state attorneys general, the county attorney. They can't hide that all these reports are in there. When a thing finally does hit the fan, if anybody ever begins to pay attention, the background is all there. I've made Cat V Studios meetings public at the town meetings for the last several years. I've let everybody know what's going on. Not that anybody's looking, but they're not going to be able to say they didn't know.
So that's the interesting thing, is you have this story.
Chronology, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Here's a problem that needs to be addressed.
And I've been trying to get them to
And
address
it's not becoming addressed.
Nope. But it's
Because
gonna,
every town should have a David Vincelette. You need to have environmental whistleblowers that are constantly. Isn't the real problem?
That's a whole basis of our environmental system, is that individuals who are hurt should have a voice, but yet somehow they're silenced.
Yeah, because you never hear about environmental whistleblowers that much. You know about you go environmental whistleblower, everyone says Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah, she got one good-looking blonde with a movie, but there's people all over the place going through hell and high water,
and they can't get their message out. They can't get help and support because
the government's overwhelmed. They're not looking into it.
I don't think enough people. It's like that pipeline.
You got to keep fighting it.
Yeah,
but it's a long battle.
The thing is, like the pipeline, right? They got thousands and thousands of people to come out and live there and take up
the
their
DAPL
time.
pipeline.
Yeah,
Dakota Access.
It still didn't work, but your thing is you're fighting pollution just the same.
Yeah,
and it's not getting what people. Here's why I think that is.
Nobody drinks it but me, my family.
I think it's a result of the capitalistic, industrial, fast-paced system that's going so fast. Rennie Farm is almost like yesterday news. It's like there's a new newspaper every day.
Oh yeah.
New things going and people aren't connected.
When the
to
book
their
comes
water.
out, then when the book comes out, it'll be bigger.
I mean, Dave, there's a reason why you and I don't have I don't have a ton. I mean, there aren't just a ton of David Vincelets. There's David Vincelette. The town of Hanover doesn't have two people who come to their meetings and sort of put their feet to the fire and ask questions that go unanswered. There's one. There's not like there's anyone else doing what you're doing.
They've worn me down. Awesome.
We need to. If we just get a couple people together and grow a petition, I think it could work. I think my dad's advice will work if I ever take it. Get a petition. But you want to make sure you know what goes on the petition before you get it.
Yeah.
But get it, because if we get 1,000 signatures on a petition.
I've been on a petition, but only as the source of the problem. I was on two petitions actually. I was on petition for the dumbass of town and for the smartass of town, which no one has held those two at the same time, as far as I know.